Good go.
As long as they're not two televisions.
No. Plasma flat screens are just as heavy as a television, but bulkier.
Televisions are hard to move. It's not the weight.
Yeah, it's just they're bulky. Flat screens are flat. They're still like that.
Try building a pallet.
I've helped. I've moved those televisions for several cons.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that have like fallen off the pallet a whole bunch of times and like rolled and they're all scratched up. Tape holding the wiring out. Don't touch the tape.
All right. We're back. Welcome back, everybody. As usual, there are updates in the agenda. You can read those on your own. Updates and reminders. That will give everybody 5 or 10 minutes to read over those, and if they have any questions or anything else they want to bring up, they can go right ahead, as can the chat. And then after people get a chance to read up on the updates, and we'll move on to Shuk presenting to those in the room who are interested in, or people we would prefer use the task tracking tool called ClickUp. And the primary people we need on ClickUp are the people who are doing any kind of planning tasks. The people who do stuff at con but are not involved in the planning part can ignore ClickUp generally, unless they just want to be more involved and want to help more. ClickUp is going to be how we're going to track tasks and assign them to people. It's kind of like a giant to-do list.
My experience is so far has been positive. I need to work a little more on this when using it, but the application itself is fantastic.
Having it installed as an app on your smartphone helps you end up getting push notifications as well, which has helped me get reminded to do stuff in particular. And there's something I haven't gotten done, and Shoot goes and changes the due date again, and then it creates another push notification.
Hey.
Change it every hour.
15 minutes.
That's
Can they use it for personal
to remind myself.
In particular, I think the biggest benefit of ClickUp is that once we create these tasks, if it's a task that's just going to get repeated every year, when that task is done, or even when we first create it, it can be set for an annual recurrence. So it'll just regenerate every year on its own and reassign to the same person, just clone itself.
Right, so the idea is to build a roadmap of all the tasks that we do throughout the year, and in the event that you decide to leave or get sick or whatever, somebody else can take up the tasks that are assigned to you and complete them. And also, so like next year, we're not second guessing ourselves and trying to remember if we forgot to do something along the way or not.
Yeah, one thing I figured out, and it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure this out, is that it's good to just write down what you need to get done so that you don't have to keep trying to remember it.
Yep.
Like I for the longest time was trying to remember, like, I gotta get this thing done, I gotta get this thing done, I gotta get this thing done. And as soon as I write it down, then I don't have to keep remembering it anymore, and it doesn't keep me up at night. I can just write it down and be like, I know I will get to this at some point because it's on my list now. And I'm embarrassed to say I think it took me like 3 or 4 years to figure that out.
I think we all do it till we get like my age. And now I do it all the time.
Regarding the party decorations, we did a mock-up in my garage a couple weeks ago using some sample parts, and we were pretty happy with how it looked. I have not ordered the additional materials yet, but I will be doing that shortly. At Pony's encouragement, I'm going to try to have all that stuff purchased and in hand before December, rather than getting it all a week before FC.
Or around finding everything.
This might be way.
Goals get packed up like a month ahead of time.
Oh, and Sierra, I did figure out how to actually re-terminate EL wire. It turns out you just have to heat up the jacket, and then it doesn't yank the extra little tiny wires off the outside. If you just point a heat gun at it first and then strip it while it's hot, it doesn't. It strips smooth.
Where this was a thing that you'd run into, but I'm really glad that you figured it out. This was like a pretty handy solution. Handy.
That's going to empower me to be able to just buy like a bulk roll and create the lengths that we need instead of having to buy specific lengths.
People buy specific lengths.
Yeah.
Those poor people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You should see some of the robots at Tesla. 20-foot long data cable for a 3-foot run. How many zip ties can you cram on a piece of equipment that's moving? And then wonder when it rigs torn apart.
Not even Velcro straps come out of Tesla.
Someone in
Velcro
the chat
straps have
is
long
asking
since
in terms
fallen off
of
and
just
taken
wanting to
away.
know, with the issue with elevators last year, is there something being done? Is there?
Well,
What?
presumably they're going to have all the elevators operating again next year.
Part of the problem was that they had just rebuilt all the elevators and all new electronics, and for some of the actual elevators, the programs weren't set.
That's right.
And you would just get trapped on a car going between like 5 floors, back and forth, back and forth. The door would open, and it was like you could get out and then try to find another elevator, or you could just wait until the damn thing just finally timed out and went into a park.
That, and we'll be putting better planning into the day 2 luggage rush when everyone starts showing up on Friday. Yeah.
What would you want?
So the car's still alive.
Yeah, actually very good.
I like that car.
So the main of what we're going to try to do to
You're driving
alleviate
that
some of
car,
that
it's like
traffic
you feel like fucking
is
Moses, man. You're
heavily
driving along,
focused.
and the Red Sea is parting before you. You just, and it's like, come on, the
Cody.
cops haven't used.
Cody.
I want everybody in the chat or everybody on the stream to be able to hear what Glyph is saying.
Part of what we're going to do to alleviate some of that traffic is when the luggage rush happens on Thursday, Friday, when everyone, the bulk of people, and Monday. Yes. But there's a second luggage rush that happens after the crowd is already there and the elevators are saturated. We're going to focus more of that luggage into the freight elevators and make it more orderly and actually start getting things in proper.
We have the freight elevator access again.
Yeah, they liked us doing that, and that did make a bad situation not as bad as it otherwise would have been,
It will
for
be
sure. But
better managed this year than it was last year.
yeah,
At the very least, turn off the street. It makes people feel like something's being done. Even if it's- A lot of people were very appreciative of that because it was a sign of progress and effort, even if it, progress. We did do a study on whether it had a big impact on the lines themselves, but
sure.
morale and
Well, I mean, it was our first time doing it, right? It's guaranteed to be the worst we'll ever do.
I was
Right, we'll only get better from there.
I was severely understaffed last year, and it's a focus of this year to actually get more staffers interested in crowd control. And if I have more manpower, we'll be able to manage the elevators and other lines a lot more effectively, while giving people an open schedule to attend the events they want to do and the functions they want to do.
Right. So this year we really need quite a few more people to sign up to be cat herders.
Very much so, yes. I mean, if you want to be a professional cat herder, this is how you do it. You can just add that to your list of job titles.
Right. And really, you only have to do it here for a single weekend, and you'll be an expert at it.
Right, exactly. There's enough chaos to go around for a year.
Yeah, easily. But yeah, nobody has explicitly told me that they're going to let us use the service elevators again, but I can't imagine they're not going to. They very much liked that we did that, so I'm certain they're going to continue that.
I would definitely follow up to be certain.
Yeah. And maybe try to see if we can possibly swing the use of an additional elevator too.
One of the
Although I
main
don't know if we're going to have the
things-
manpower to run it.
One of the main things I would also like to focus on is if we can coordinate with the GSR to get that central stairwell opened again.
Now, the only reason they did that, normally they would not. I remember the security guy specifically telling me, he's like, against my better judgment, I'm going to open it because the elevators are just buried.
Right.
It was like,
They were doing repairs or something.
and he made it quite clear that like that is not normal policy to
If
have
it's
those
if
open.
it's a no, it's not because they don't care. I was there when the
Oh,
guy
yeah.
said no initially, and without going into too many details, it's more of just like it's a no. It's like
Yeah, it's a pretty big safety and
Yeah.
fire code issue, so no is going to be no.
Yep.
not like they don't care. It's just their hands are tied.
I think just last year it got to the point where the crowds were more of a fire hazard than having the doors open was.
True. The thing I'd like to remind everyone who's listening to this stream of is please don't crowd the elevator banks. There's many places to loiter.
Did we have too many problems with that? With people just loitering there but
Yes.
not actually waiting for
Constantly.
elevators? Still?
Yeah.
Of course.
The signage was ineffective. The only thing that made a difference was having staffers on that level, and it took at least 2 to 3 staff members on the casino level to manage a crowd like that. It had to be 1 staff member per bank, and if it wasn't that, then the person was completely overwhelmed. So minimum 2, comfortable 3. And that ties up 3 people and 1 floor just to manage, like 300 people standing in front of the elevator banks because the bar is right there. It's where everyone meets. It's where everyone congregates. It's a natural hangout location.
Right.
Natural meeting point.
Rather unfortunate bit of architecture.
That's what happens when you expand upon it.
Do you want to talk about ClickUp? In a moment, I'm writing down a couple things so I don't forget.
Is there anything we can do to draw people down the hallway, slightly away from the elevators?
The only thing we found that was effective in testing so far was just having able bodies in that location to ask people, hey, can you please clear out, hey, this is a loading zone, and kind of micromanage the people getting on and off the elevators. Unfortunately, without doing that, people will walk right past signs, or even if it's blinking, it's going to be the brightest neon thing, and most people will just ignore it. We're also contending with a lot of GSR patrons who aren't in on the event. So unfortunately, they have no idea what's going on either, and they're just getting caught up in the traffic jam.
But I mean, like, could we put like stanchions running from the escalator slightly to go slightly down the hallway? Or
I had
set up a bar down the hallway in front of that sports store or anything to draw people down that way?
I had a conversation with GSR Security about this matter. They don't want us putting anything in that area as it is a risk of people tripping and it impedes foot traffic of normal GSR patrons. They also don't want anything around the stores or shop fronts. So we're a bit tied up for that. We'd have to find further incentive to move people along and or just keep that area constantly staffed at all times.
You could get Pavlovian about it and potentially just have somebody with a few bags of fun-sized candies, and anybody that just books it straight from the elevator down the hall gets candy.
Skip shower.
And anybody
and I'll stand right
who
there.
decides they want to loiter around doesn't. But like, I think at the end of the day, you're right. You have to have 3 people there because
Well-
even that's not going to accomplish much.
Another thing to consider is this is also something we've only done 1 year so far. If we have an established culture within the convention that everybody knows, you go downstairs
Right.
to go up the elevator, people will
That's
theoretically
something-
learn.
That's something I actually attempted to implement, but ultimately it was the decision of the GSR that we not do that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So the GSR doesn't want us all loading from
There is a concern of if everyone is loading from X location or exiting at X location, it also includes the GSR patrons who are not in on the event. And this causes conflictions and issues and complaints that unfortunately they do not want to deal with, and I agree with that. So the only thing that we can do is remind our guests attending BLFC to please exit on the ground floor if at all possible, and load from the ground floor if at all possible. Anything to alleviate the traffic on the casino level would be fantastic.
It's also probably because the elevators are once again programmed to land at the casino level on Park and not biased to go into the bottom floor.
Right.
I think it was working pretty well when I've seen it where all the attendees were downstairs when we were successful with it.
Right. There
weren't that many full elevators. There were a couple I heard of, but they were still able to get on.
I really think the most effective thing is just going to be to keep screaming at people like there is additional elevator capacity downstairs. You will wait less time for an elevator if you go downstairs.
Right.
And just keep repeating that over and over and over again. And as long as we have people down there that are shuttling people over to the service elevators, that's genuinely true.
The next problem with that in this scenario is the people who go down to go up. There's a lot of that, and
the GSR won't let us do anything about it.
The GSR will not let us do anything about that specific situation.
Right.
But it's just you can't do anything about that. There's going to be roughly 30% of people who are going to do that because they want to get to their floor, and that's understandable. But it does create an issue of more full elevators showing up to the ground floor, and then everyone's just kind of sitting around loitering going, well, guess wait for the next one.
Well, and to even solve that problem, you have to screen people to know who's going downstairs legitimately and who's going down to go up. And
Right.
There's just no way that you're going to get a benefit from taking the time to harass people to find out what they're doing.
Well,
That's just wasting more time.
It's not screening people. It's if you hit the bottom floor, it's an exit.
Oh, okay, that's fair. At the same time, yeah.
Similar to
If
FC.
you get to the bottom, you're getting off.
Yes.
Right.
We cannot enforce that.
We can't.
We
That
cannot.
was
I know.
horrible last year. I
Right.
would sit on the floor and talk a guy out of a total nervous breakdown. It took 15 minutes to get the guy to even stand up because he got caught in an elevator, and it was just,
Yep, that's
and that's that. So, yeah.
Yep, pretty much every other convention that I've been to where they have the run of the entire place gets to enforce that. MFF does that, FC does that. It's like you get to the lobby level, you get off, period. But we don't get to do that because we have to share this place with people who aren't furries.
Right.
And that's basically the root of the problem. Is that we don't have the whole place to ourselves. And we never will.
Are they at least going to just try to advise people ahead of time that may make it smoother and hope that they comply?
There's
No, hold
no
on,
way.
like,
You can't even explain to
this was
them.
the perfect storm last
No.
year.
It
'Cause
really
we were down
was.
a lot of elevators. So
Yeah, that was
I think it's good to have a good plan, but I don't think this is like, we're not like waiting for this to happen again. It could only get better because your team's only going to get better, and the elevators, I have never seen that many down in
Right.
1 year.
It was impressive.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
and like I remember them telling me they're like those elevators were at the end of their life. They had to be taken down and
Lost two
repaired.
more during the con.
Yeah, the two that hadn't been redone yet broke down.
I think if anybody expresses concern, probably to you, mostly social media, is that like I know the worst can happen, but honestly, like it was the worst and it can only be better. So I mean, if people are still concerned, it's like just wait. Like it,
We have,
I would put. I'm not a betting pony, but I would bet that it would be better this year.
Well, I mean, they were at the end of the refurbishment of the refurbishment project when we had our con.
Right.
And it's done. And all the lifts are back up, so.
Finito.
We have a much more solid plan. Hopefully we get the manpower that we need, and everything else will just fall into place from there.
I would like to see that plan eventually.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Just reading over all these updates myself. If there's anything I want to speak on further. And anybody here who's going to FC that is interested in helping with the promo party knows to get a hold of Levi, right?
Yes, I hope so. Every year we always need, one or two bartenders, someone to watch the door, somebody to generally roam around, make sure, check the tip jar, take out the trash, things like that. Pretty much the same every year, unless something changes.
Don't forget setting up the room.
Oh yeah, and also set up as well.
Right, setting up all the decorations in the room. The bartender part is actually pretty easy because I usually make pre-mixed drinks. So it's literally just somebody asks for something off the menu, you turn around, grab a glass and pour some of it and hand it to them. Like, it's...
Going to just be color-based again this year?
So...
On that note, is there...
Have any of those positions been filled?
No, Kaliki did express an interest in helping again with the bartending, so that's actually what reminded me that, wait a minute, I need to start getting that done.
You should talk to E8 too about bartending. 'cause
Oh, yes.
He was really interested in doing that again.
He's
Yes.
gonna be there.
That's a good question.
He usually goes.
As far as I know.
See?
Yeah.
But I still need to work up on actually like creating another schedule for this year and putting people in spots.
Oh, I thought I had that mentioned in here, but apparently not. Oh no, I have it further down. That's where it is. So the quiet, at least the queen worms anyway, on the quiet floor seem to already be gone, and I think they all went to volunteers. So at least they all went to volunteers.
Sounds like a win.
You need some sleep after volunteering.
Sleep is good.
I think it's more that they want to be on the third floor so they don't have to screw around with elevators.
Exactly.
I think both help.
And if that's really important to you and you can't get on the quiet floor, another option, if you can tolerate it, is the first floor. Unfortunately, that is a smoking floor. But that is another way to get around the elevators, is to just request the smoking floor.
Because it's no longer the party floor.
Because it is no longer the party floor. That is correct. The party floor is being moved up to the fourth floor.
Is that also partially control access?
It's more because we have suites there. And the main thing that was making us struggle to get people into the party floor was the people who were throwing big parties wanted big suites. And there weren't any big suites on the first floor. There are at the end of each of the three wings on the fourth floor. So now we can have 3 big parties at the end of each of the 3 wings, 3 anchors for any other parties in the rest of that particular wing.
And that also divides all the foot traffic into, instead of just one big hallway, 3 separate hallways.
That's true. Maybe that'll even take a little bit of the foot traffic away from the first floor.
Yep.
That might, I can't imagine that would make the first floor problem any worse. It can only make it better.
Is it going to choke the elevators for that block?
Possible. But that was the only bank of elevators that wasn't like a complete dumpster fire.
Oh yeah, that's right. The first through 7.
Yeah. Am I remembering right, Glyph? The 1 through 7 elevators were pretty much never a problem?
1 through 7 was totally fine. It was the center bank, which is 16 to 24.
Because it was missing 2 out of 5.
No, actually, that was the last bank. The bank farthest to the south of that hallway.
That's the 1824.
The 18 to 24.
It is. That is the 18 to
Yeah,
24.
that one is the one that missed the most bank. The center bank was packed, but not as bad.
Right.
It was mainly that last bank.
Yeah, that's the one that goes to the top third of the building, but that had all 5 operating, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yes, as we expected. The one that's lost 2/5 of its capacity had the worst problems.
Butter
Duh.
side down.
Yep, pretty much. So yeah, maybe having the party on the 4th floor won't be so bad because I think that elevator bank is usually in pretty okay shape.
until we figure out that it's not, when throughput goes through the roof.
I guess we'll see.
Should be fine.
Maybe we'll be lucky and they'll let us open the stairwell again, and then it will be a non-issue. Because it will only be one step up from the third floor. And if I remember right, when they did open the stairwell, you can only get on into it from the third floor, not the first, right? Right. So you had to actually take the escalators up to here, and then go find the stairwell that they had propped open.
Yes.
Temporarily. Yeah.
Somebody did ask, and I know you've explained this to me before. Why is the party floor this year above the quiet floor?
It's not.
It's not. It's directly above the meeting rooms.
It's above the panel rooms.
Panel rooms.
Yep. So the fourth floor, the party floor, has three, like almost every floor of this building has 3 short wings and 1 long wing. The 3 short wings are all on top of the panel rooms. They're right above our head right now. And the 1 long wing is above the quiet floor. And the long wing is going to be filled with all the people who say they're willing to be near the parties but are not throwing parties, which is that's the party adjacent type in Passkey.
Nice.
So that'll let those people be on the same floor as the party floor, so they can go enjoy all the parties all night long, and then not have to get on an elevator to get back to their room.
That's a good idea.
But they don't have to be like actually in the thick of the parties either. And then they provide that cushion for the volunteers that are going to be on the quiet floor. So that's the answer, is that the party floor isn't an entire floor.
Yeah.
It is only specific wings of a floor. But yes, I know on paper that seems silly to put the party floor right on top of the quiet floor. Hopefully it works.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst case? A business meeting takes place in here and, stucco's falling from the ceilings.
At 9 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
Well, that's more likely to happen in the executive offices that are in the third wing of this that will have parties on top of it. But
I just call that.
nobody's using those offices at night, so it should be okay.
It's fine.
Hopefully.
Someone was asking in terms of, they said specifically pocket programs. I'm assuming we're doing that again this year.
We are. Well, we definitely want to. We need to
Yeah.
have something. I think we are still looking for somebody to do that this year.
I have one. I
You
just
have
need
one?
two.
Oh, okay. You have candidates?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Any other questions? No mas?
It seems
Okay.
everyone's
I mean,
continuing.
one thing is, more work on theme, but I mean, it's a good outline here on that, so.
And as I mentioned there, that is FC's theme, not ours, but
Mhm.
ours
But we
is
can-
paralleling that.
Well, about the best thing is, what we've talked about is pretty much covered in the last paragraph of kind of what's sort of moved up here.
Mhm.
Because the maker culture and the Burning
Yep.
Man and all that going on here, and I think that's actually a great idea.
You guys are mostly all leads, except for a very small handful of you. So you guys could separate them yourselves, like into groups of 5, based on kind of like if your departments are kind of similar together or not. So
Access anything it's telling me. Does yours work?
Yeah, but I never saw a screen like that.
And that's what pops up after I've loaded it out, so it's not like I'm telling it to do anything. It just does that, and then it goes to that, but it won't let me do anything.
It's just a little test management tool.
No, they're just, he's showing them.
Huh?
Okay.
He's just showing them how to do it.
Well, I'm online on my own because I use my own and then it kept kicking me up to this one here, so I signed into this one and it still won't do anything.
Maybe you're just not online.
How do I tell if I'm online? I think I'm online.
It does.
Should be on a line in either the Wi-Fi in here or my own.
The meeting will
resume shortly.
Yeah. So you're on Wi-Fi.
I'm not.
No, you get assigned stacks to you. Text you as well.
Okay, okay, so just,
Oh, okay. So you are on the GSR Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because I tried that because it wouldn't take it on my own.
It wouldn't.
No, it was giving me the same thing. It's telling me the same thing on GSR too. So, or at least it's giving me the same kind of access.
Did it give you that little splash image thing with the GSR where it asks you to sign in? And you already did that?
Mm-hmm. And the reason I did that is because it wouldn't give me access from my own.
Do you mind opening your internet browser on there?
Not sure what you're telling me to do. Just go to it and this.
Oh.
That is nothing like ice in the light.
Shoot, that's too complicated. No. Just open a web page.
Sure, you want my regular email?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Like that one or something?
Oh, like a website, like Google.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just part of the
Her search bar should go.
Oh, no, there you go. I see it. Okay.